being a man is now some sort of like demonic thing, and we're belittled and not looked after, and we're not allowed to show emotion or appear weak. So what do we do?
Because the highs and lows are guaranteed, but we're sent out of school or university with a certificate or a diploma, but no real life skills.
What are the skills that you've seen men have to develop to be an integrated, powerful man?
One of the hardest things for men to build.
Just pause for a second and think about that. You're telling me that I can take a negative emotion, which drives all my fucking actions. Why do we drink? Because we feel stressed. We don't think stressed, we feel stressed.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can take a negative emotion that's fucking up my world and transmute it into something else? Yes. If you're struggling with the challenges of life, potentially working too much, constant pressure on your shoulders, maybe your marriage isn't connected, you don't feel like the best father you can be, or if you feel like life is a constant war, then you're gonna love today's podcast episode on how to actually achieve inner peace and fulfillment as a man. How to be successful in your business, your body, your mind, your relationships, all at the same time. Today we have Sam Whitwell, who's coached over 7,000 of our Empowered Man clients. He's been helping them integrate themselves and become better men. Whether you are a woman or a man, this will change your life. So make sure you take a bunch of notes. It gets better as we go along. We talk about power, purpose, fatherhood, and how to be the man you know you can be. Sam, we are more stressed, depressed, overweight, anxious, and divorced than ever before. Way to start a podcast of negativity. But we both know that that's completely the opposite of where we get to be as men, empowered, winning, successful. Brother, you've coached thousands of men here at the Empowered Man. I'm so excited for you to share how to break that mold that we're currently going through. Welcome to the pod. How are you feeling?
I'm so excited to be here.
Amazing.
Thanks,
so, bro, let's just dive straight into value for the listener. Like, who are you? What do you do? Let's lead with your story of isolation, suicidal thoughts, and turning your pain into power. What have you gone through that men need to understand and work through themselves?
Nearly 3.5 years ago, I woke up one morning thinking that while life wasn't perfect, it was okay. And that I was on a trajectory of healing and recovery and restoration. And then a few hours later, my wife said, "I'm leaving you." And in that moment, it turned everything that I knew about myself on its head. Where I lived, access to my son, my vocation, everything became uncertain in that moment. And I find, for me personally, but as men, we withdraw, we isolate in those moments. We try and survive. And I was in that state of what felt like nothingness. And I got to this point very early on in that process of thinking, I don't think I'm going to get through this. And I understand completely why so many men don't. And I remember looking up at the ceiling one night in a small rental, thinking it would probably be so much easier if I just ended things now. But I couldn't. And, I felt fully isolated and fully alone. But the only thing keeping me going was my son, my relationship with my son. And for so many men, it's a very similar story. A story of pain turning into isolation, turning into trying to cope and numb through all sorts of different things. For me, it was just getting stuck in retreating and withdrawing and isolating and still putting on a smile. But eventually it realized that it was just all bullshit.
Yeah, it's these masks that we wear as men. You've spoken at some of our events about these masks. It's like you put on that smile, you pretend like things are okay. People ask you how you're going and you say things like, "Yeah, I'm fine, not too bad." And these words are just simply you trying to tell people that things are okay when they're really not. And I think this speaks to the state of modern day society when it comes to men. Being a man is now some sort of like demonic thing, and we're belittled and not looked after, and we're not allowed to show emotion or appear weak. So what do? We suppress, we sedate, we isolate, and men end up killing themselves. You know, in the last 2 weeks alone, one of my good friends, Eric, has had someone he was very close with jump off one of the hotels here on the Gold Coast, kill himself, 32-year-old. One of our clients this morning broke down while on the phone with me because someone he's looked up to for so long ended his life yesterday. And it's crazy, right? To be sitting there going, maybe I'm better off not being here when life is so beautiful. But life doesn't feel beautiful for a lot of men, right? So what do you think is causing this isolation, suicide, divorce, suppression in men? Like, why do so many men, even the successful ones, feel so unsuccessful everywhere else? What's causing that?
One of the things I think that causes a lot of that isolation is we learn how to launch a business. We learn how to operate in our field, but no one teaches us how to navigate life. No one teaches us how to do relationships. No one teaches us how to navigate conflict or reconcile or, cope through the pain of everyday life. Because the highs and lows are guaranteed, but we're sent out of school or university with a certificate or a diploma, but no real life skills.
Yeah.
And so these things come up and we just go to what we know or we go to what we've seen. And often that's a lack of education. And so we just try and figure it out on the fly. Yeah. And for so many men, that's staring up at the ceiling like I was that night and going, I don't know what to do. Some reach for the bottle, some reach for drugs, some reach for, multiple partners. But that doesn't get us anywhere. And we stay stuck in that isolation. And, we've seen it thousands of times over and over again with so many men we've worked with. It's just that downward spiral and it compiles and we bring other things into it. But yeah, as I look around society, there is such a lack of education.
Especially for men.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean to be a man? Work hard, provide, put food on the table, and then your wife doesn't feel fulfilled for years, so she ends up fucking someone else. And then you lose 75% of what you've worked hard for because of how society's built. Fuck that, right? So as men, there is no education on how to be a man when you're not a husband or a father or a business owner or a provider, hard worker. Who are you when those things are stripped away? What does it mean to be a man? Where is that education piece? What are the skills that you've seen men have to develop to be an integrated, powerful man? Because you said something earlier, I had to turn my pain into power. And brother, you could have killed yourself from the stress. Look at you now, you're smiling and it's genuine. You're helping thousands of men. You're healthy, you're fit, you're strong, you're building wealth. What are the skill sets a man needs to develop to get out of suppression and pain and turn that into power?
One of the hardest things for men to build is a skill set of looking within. And one of the hardest things to do as a man is to be honest with yourself. Because that's like taking off the mask, isn't it? It's like looking in the mirror and seeing there are flaws, there are cracks, there are things unresolved. And as men, we don't like that because we're problem solvers. We see something that's broken or, what's the word? Just broken, and we want to fix it. That's what we want to do. And when we look within and we realize we haven't had the education, we don't know what to do, that's scary. And becoming honest with ourselves, looking ourselves in the eye, and rather than, defaulting to negative language, I'm a piece of shit or I'm not good enough or whatever, actually going a bit deeper and saying, well, what's actually going on here? What am I feeling? What am I thinking about? What's going on for me? It sounds simple, but it's really, really challenging when no one's taught you how to do that.
Yeah. How do I even start thinking about my feelings, my emotions? Yep. Because I'm so busy, I'm so stressed. And also to any women listening to this, like this is what men go through. We don't want to appear weak. Therefore, we don't share when we're feeling afraid or angry or stressed. We bottle it up and we suppress it. But as you know, when you suppress something for long enough, it explodes. And this is where we yell at our kids. You feel like a piece of shit. This is where we are grumping with our wife. She's walking on eggshells. She thinks about divorcing us. You're right. We haven't been taught these skills. And the number one skill is being honest with yourself. So where would a man who's listening to this right now, he's a hardworking father, he's building wealth, he's trying to provide, where would he even begin to become honest with himself. What does that even fucking mean? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. When I'm coaching men around this, I'll throw a question in, one of the things, share one of the things that you're feeling right now. And I'm saying, yes, it's the thing that you are in your mind going, no, it's not that. It's that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the things that you are so, like, it's almost like we're holding this beach ball underwater. No, it's not that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong there until
it always comes
it
out.
explodes. It comes out in some way, shape, or form. Now, based on, depending upon what we've grown up seeing, that might come out in rage, blowing up, blaming other people. But at the end of the day, they're our own emotions. It's almost like, and it was for me, it was like in the mind, this uncharted territory behind this gate. I don't know how to get in, but it's there.
Yeah.
Don't have a key, don't have any tools to get in, but it's there. And when you can start to give yourself time and space and put some energy into yourself, you figure out how to start opening that gate. And it's like a can of worms, right? It's like you take the lid off and it's like, oh, it'd be so much easier to just put it all back in and suppress it. But that's what's killing so many men, is the story that we've got to live contained and confined, because if we open that stuff and start to deal with it, it's going to cause more pain. But it's short-term pain for a long-term gain. Pain into power. That's one of the biggest lessons that's come out for me.
If you're getting value from this podcast episode, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It allows us to reach more men, to keep more families together, and to give you more value with the guests that we get on board. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so we can give you even more value.
2022, the year of my separation, I sat on Zoom with over 150 men as part of our movement, one-on-one, walking through the same thing that I was going through.
Yeah.
And that year, my credibility to speak into that stuff just skyrocketed, because I could identify with what was going on. And it was almost like I had the privilege of being able to help them find the key to that gate, to start to open it and express what was going on. But being fully vulnerable, I'm like 3 steps ahead of you on this journey.
Yep.
But let's go there together.
Yeah.
That isolation prevents us from stepping into those spaces.
When you say this gate, do you mean opening this gate of the dark parts of yourself, or do you mean opening this gate of what's possible in terms of joy, happiness, fulfillment, things that most men lack? What do you mean by this gate for somebody listening? Like, what is that gate that you're opening, and what does that create for you as a man?
Yeah. See, that gate for me, it's this image of like this, those old wrecking yards.
Yeah.
And those gates have got the big chain, the big padlock around it, and then you finally get into it, and it just looks like, old beaten up cars and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as men, we're wired to problem solve. So if we can get into that wrecking yard in our mind and go, oh, there's a lot of fear there. Oh, there's a lot of self-doubt. Oh, there's a lot of hurt, betrayal, trauma from the past. And we can start to open up about that stuff. Just like someone walking into a wrecking yard, we see potential, we see power, we see possibility. We see what that broken down car with no wheels and no windows, what it could actually be. So I think it's both. Mm-hmm. It's the fear, it's the anxiety, but it's also the possibility of power and potential and freedom, reconciled, healed relationships, great relationships on the other side of that.
Yeah. I've been so afraid in my life to look at the dark parts of myself. And it's because I consider myself relatively successful. So I have a multi-million-dollar business, property portfolio, 2 beautiful daughters, a wife that loves me. And I've told myself that I'm good, I'm okay. And it's in those moments that I get so busy with work and I get so stressed with all the things I have to do and all the balls juggling in the air that I don't make the time to explore those parts of myself. And I think a lot of men can relate to that. Like, why would I look at my anxieties and my fears and my stresses and my childhood trauma? Like, motherfucker, I'm trying to survive here. I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to build wealth for my family. I'm trying to be a dad. I'm taking my kids to sports. It can feel overwhelming for a man. However, if you don't explore those parts of yourself, they will come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, think about how often the clients we work with, and you work with some really successful guys. Some of your clients at Empowered Man make 10 to 20, $100 million a year. These men are what? They're constantly stressed. They struggle to switch off at the end of the day. Their relationship with their wife is disconnected. They feel like they can't communicate with her. They feel like they're not respected by her. Their kids don't see them as the hero anymore. But then they say things like, well, I'm successful. I'm providing. I'm making money. That extra $1 million should help give us freedom. But these other parts of their life are sort of falling apart. How often do you see that in men? And what do you think is causing us to be in the state of pressure and stress and constant grind mode versus exploring these parts of ourselves that really matter? Like, what's preventing us from going from A to B in that vein?
We see grind mode, and it's a word that, you know, we've heard a lot over the years, is I'm grinding, I'm in that mode. I don't like that word personally. Just, I don't know if there's some unresolved trauma there or whatever, but it's almost like, you know, we're taught to work hard, but it's almost like we're on a treadmill as opposed to a running track. And on this treadmill, we're going around and round and round and round and round, bringing in the money, you know, maintaining a relationship. Sometimes we think we're maintaining a relationship and we're actually destroying the relationship. But we can only go so far. And we don't deal with that unresolved trauma. We don't deal with that fear, that stress, that anxiety. We don't have any habits or routines in place. And we can only go so far. When we start to open that gate, we start to work through some of that stuff. We start to navigate the pressure, put some solid habits in place, put some accountability, some support, some education in place. It's like we move from the treadmill to a running track, and we're actually starting to get somewhere. We're starting to move forward. We're starting to look at what life looks like beyond the four walls of a room with a treadmill in it. And you're starting to see there's life here. There's scope, there's possibility, there's power, there's potential. And there's also an increase in my capacity as well.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. So for somebody who's listening right now, how do you know that you're on the treadmill, that hamster wheel of life? What are the symptoms you see for the common man who comes to Empowered Man, these successful quote unquote guys? Paint that picture, and then paint the picture like day to day. What does life look like when you're on that running track? Because the metaphor is amazing, but what are the symptoms of each?
Yeah.
Like, start with the treadmill. What does that feel like? How do you feel each day? What does your relationship look like? Paint that picture for most men.
Yeah. So the treadmill's like a hamster wheel. You're in maintenance mode or survival mode, maybe. You know, you're not having the honest conversations with your partner. You're doing what you can to diffuse a situation, send some flowers, let's book a family holiday, you know, in 3 months or whatever. Yep, cool. Throw some money at that, throw some money at this, work longer, try and diffuse situations just to kind of keep the peace. Happy wife, happy life mentality.
Yeah.
We're trying to just get by at work. We're trying to build the business and bring in money at the expense of our health. We're just kind of putting the health to the side. And it's sort of like we're in survival mode. Whereas the other running track is like, we're not in survival mode anymore. We're in thriving mode. We've got things in place to navigate our health, to navigate our stress. We're dating our wife. We're going on genuine family holidays. We're not just trying to diffuse situations. We're resolving situations. We've got a healthy, growing, fun relationship with our partner, with our kids. We've got people on the journey with us. We've got solid things in place that are actually helping us move forward. So it's like survival mode versus thriving mode. It's like stuck in the grind versus I'm actually going somewhere. I'm moving forward. I'm seeing an ROI in what I invest in the business, in my relationship, and with myself.
And that ROI is what life is about.
Yes.
Most men are living, but they're not truly alive.
Yeah.
They're stuck in this place that I've been in, that you've been in, where we're constantly stressed. We're on that hamster wheel, grinding, sacrificing, sedating. Our energy's low. Our health is sacrificed. Our wife doesn't even want to have sex with us. And that becomes reality, and that becomes comfortable.
Mm.
But what most men never actually see is what's possible, which is a life where you have it all.
Yeah.
And a lot of men go, that I can't have that. You can. You can have a healthy body that's full of energy and weaponized. You can have a mind that's bulletproof and able to handle anything, while also having great relationships with your wife, your kids, and the people around you, while also making shitloads of money and creating freedom. But the gap between that promised land that is truly possible and where most of us are now comes down to one thing. And that's this idea of commitment.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's fucking hard to have it all. Think about how many men see someone who's successful. They got a nice car, especially in Australia. Like, Australia's fucking terrible for this, tall poppy. In America, you have a nice car. Somebody walks by and goes, dude, nice ride. How'd you get that? Over here, they go, wanker. And it's really fucking twisted as well. Because you see, what's that guy who runs the fucking Portelli? Adrian Portelli? Is it Adrian Portelli? Yeah? Like, you see that guy making billions a year. That guy's the man. Then you see like a CEO of a business. That guy's a wanker. It's fucking wild. Bit of a tangent. But we have this weird thing here where men don't think it's possible and they belittle men who have it and they think it's luck. It's not luck. Like, it's hard to be a man. It's hard to make money. It's hard to have a great business and a great body and a six pack and full of energy and that takes so much fucking effort. It is a radical commitment. Now, before we recorded, you talked about working on business versus working on ourselves. We have here where the gate hasn't been opened, life's fucked. We have here, which is life is amazing. The gap is commitment, right? Talk to me about your view of commitment and how it applies to business versus personal lives.
Commitment across the board, it's the same thing. It's a commitment to something. You know, we so many men spend 30, 40 years committing to building a business, committing to building wealth, and they're very successful in it. But they're out of integrity with like holistic commitment because their health's gone to shit, their relationship's gone to shit, but the business is great. The bank balance is great. This idea of holistic commitment allows us to thrive in every area of our life. How can we truly commit our lives to someone else wholeheartedly if we can't commit to ourselves? Committing to ourselves isn't building a business. Commitment to ourselves is building an inner life, an inner man who is ready to succeed in all areas. It's got to start within. Because if it doesn't, yes, we might build an amazing portfolio, wealth creation, whatever it may be. But it's always at the sacrifice of something else. I'm focusing heavily on the business. Yeah, health will take a back seat for a while. Relationship will take a back seat for a while. Now I've got to focus on my health. Now the business is suffering. But this idea of holistic commitment, it's the same principle, but we get to apply it to all the key areas of our life. And that's where I see so many men sort of slip up because it's either one or the other. But underneath that is that belief that I can't have it all. You know what I mean?
It's a complete bullshit belief.
Absolutely. It's holding so many men back.
Yeah.
So if we can start to commit to ourselves, is what I did over 3 years ago when my marriage fell apart. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just, there's this quote that's going around at the moment. It's like, for 6 months, ghost everyone, just build yourself, build yourself, build yourself. And I did that. And I'm still building myself, but I committed to myself. I committed to my journey, my healing, my recovery. And now I'm thriving in my career. I'm thriving in the relationships I choose to invest in. I'm thriving in my health. I'm in the best physical, mental shape of my life because I made a decision to commit to myself.
And most men never do that. How does that feel? Because I know the moments, I've known you for 8 years. You're one of my first clients. You now coach thousands of our clients. Back then, you felt afraid, weak, like you were lacking confidence, like despite your success financially or providing, you were a piece of shit, you weren't good enough. So many men feel that. How does it feel now when you've opened that gate, you've dealt with those parts of yourself, you've committed to yourself? How does that feel day to day for you? Like, what is the emotion and the energy you're working through day by day?
It honestly feels amazing. It feels freeing. And no longer am I fearful of what might come up for me internally. Like if there's, we've had some challenges in the business. I've had some health challenges last year. I'm not afraid of that stuff anymore. It's like, it's not behind the gate anymore. It's there. And if it comes up, we'll deal with it. We'll navigate it. And having the tools to be able to do that, it feels amazing to be able to wake up each day and go, okay, cool. That's come up. I'll just navigate it. I'll deal with it. I'll find a solution, or I'll get some support rather than suppress it, push it away, doesn't exist. And that's because I decided again to commit to myself and to my journey first. Everything else is a ripple effect of that.
Well, it always begins with you. If you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks come down, the first person you put it on is you, not your children. Because let's say you have 3 children and a wife and they're not able to do it. You get it on one kid, everyone passes out or potentially dies. But men have this weird thing. And look, I've done it too, where we sacrifice everything in the pursuit of success. As a man, I want to be successful. So I sacrifice my health. I won't go to the gym today. I got to work. I'll sacrifice my routines. I'll stop hanging out with my friends. How many men do you know who don't have hobbies? They don't have friends anymore.
Yep.
They don't spend time with their wife. And this sacrifice creates a broken shell of a man who has one area of life ticked off. Yeah, I've built some wealth, but my body, my mind, my balance, my relationships, they've all gone to shit. And it all begins with that commitment to yourself. And a commitment, it's a choice.
Yes.
A commitment is a decision. Life is simply micro commitments, day by day, hour by hour. I'm committing to get out of bed, whether I feel like it or not.
Yeah.
Now I'm committing to go to CrossFit or exercise, even though I'm tired. Now I've got to swap my commitment into the business. I've got shit to do. I could procrastinate, or I could plan, execute, get shit done. That's a commitment. Then at the middle of the day, I'm committing to eat lunch instead of working through. Then I'm committing to get 3 more hours of work done. I come home, I'm exhausted. I'm committing to hold my daughter and smile at her. These are all micro commitments. And I think a lot of men don't realize that no one's pulling the strings in your head. Now, there's no puppet master in there making you get angry, making you work too much, making you be a dick to your wife. This is all within your control. But it begins with making a decision, making a choice to do something different. And that's the decision you made. How does a man make that decision? How does a man go, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. I'm out of this life that doesn't serve me. I'm opening that gate. I'm creating the habitable lifestyle where I'm winning and successful. How do I commit to that?
I think it gets to start with vision. Because if you don't know what's possible or what could be, why would you make a commitment? Do you know what I mean? Like if you just went in blind building a business and you didn't really know what was possible or what you were setting out to achieve or really the purpose behind it, well, would you really commit? When we can start to dig into vision of what life could look like, what life could be like, what it could feel like on a day-to-day basis, we get to allow ourselves to commit to that. One of the things, 2 of those words that you use were choice and decision. And that's something that we get to do every single day. I didn't make a decision 3.5 years ago to improve my life and then basing the rest of my life just on that decision. Every single day I make a conscious choice. I can either be ruled by what I feel and allow that to dictate my action, or I can remain plugged into my vision of the man that I get to be and pursue that. And bringing it to the conscious mind and going, nope, today I choose to be that version of myself. One of the things I write in my journal, I journal every morning, I write in there every morning is I choose to show up today. I don't always feel like it, you know this. I don't always feel like showing up, but it's a conscious choice every single day.
That's what it means to be a man, though. And I think that will go over a lot of listeners' heads. If you are listening to this right now, to be a true masculine man means to do the hard shit, especially when you don't feel like it.
Yes.
Like on the days where you don't feel like working, where you feel like procrastinating, where you feel stressed, so you want to skip a workout, where you feel angry at your wife, choosing something different that takes you from a place of pain and problems and anguish and stress and overwhelm and actually choosing something different to put yourself in a place of power, that builds so much confidence within yourself. Because you realize as a man, you can make decisions and take actions despite how you feel. Like life is fucking hard for a man. It is stressful. There is so much weight on the bar. And guess what? It's going to get heavier and heavier the more successful you become. And if you can feel that weight and you can feel that stress and those negative emotions and choose to step into power, man, you become bulletproof. And I think for anyone listening right now as well, you talk about vision. Like, how do you build a vision? Well, there's two ways. There's the 4-minute mile. So you're familiar with the 4-minute mile for anyone who isn't. I think it was something Bannister. I don't remember his name. No one had run a 4-minute mile since the beginning of time, recorded time, right? This one guy runs the 4-minute mile, and the next subsequent months, so many other people run the 4-minute mile because they see what's possible. So if you're listening to this right now and you go, okay, so you're telling me I can have a healthy body, a bulletproof mind, great relationships, lots of respect, lots of sex, and lots of money all at the same time. I call bullshit. Well, then find people who have got it. I've got it. You've got it. It comes down to commitment and vision. If you actually want help implementing what we're talking about today, you want to be successful in your body, your mind, your balance, and your wealth at the same time. Whether that means making more money, working less, growing your business, and growing your success without all the stress, or being a better husband, father, or man, then it's a lot easier with help. Now, we've launched the Empowered Man app, and it is so powerful for implementing this in a gamified system for you to succeed. If you want to go on the waitlist or learn more, just simply send me a DM on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. That's TONIEMPOWEREDMAN. I'll drop it down below in case I fucked up the spelling, but please reach out. It's a lot easier with support. Send me a message on Instagram. Let me know how you're finding the podcast, and let me know if you want access to this amazing tool to be successful in every area. The second way I like to build vision is a lot of men, if you ask them, what do you want? They don't fucking know. What do I want? I want a nice car. I want a nice house. I want freedom. Okay. But you've got a nice house and you've got a nice car, but you have no freedom, right? So I think one of the best ways to build vision as a man is ask yourself simply, what's not working? In my body, what's not working? With my health, what's not working? In my mind, my thoughts, what's not working? Where is there pain? In my relationship, what's not working? In my business or career, what's not working? And it's really easy to focus on what's not working. And then to build a vision, just ask yourself, what's the opposite of that? Right? How do I create that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Now, you and I spoke a few weeks ago about some challenges you were going through. At Empowered Man, we track our peace score. We track a bunch of things: purpose, connection, peace. And your peace out of 10, so 10 is like, I'm a Buddhist monk, life's amazing. And 1 is like, I'm about to jump off a bridge. Your peace was like a 2 or a 3. Can you talk to me about what happened there and where it is now? Because it's easy for someone listening to go, well, these guys are full of shit. Like, they've got a great life. It's not always that easy. No, it's not. Sometimes we feel like giving up. Talk to me about that moment for you so the listeners can relate to that.
Yeah, I was in a season where I was consistently about a 2 out of 10. And you said to me on our meeting, what is it? Is it joy? And I'm like, no, it's not joy. Is it peace? Yes, it's peace. That's the thing that's lacking. And I really found it challenging to put a label on it and identify what it was until you said, is it peace? I'm like, yes, that's what I'm chasing. And it's about a 2 out of 10. And that feels quite consistent. If you drop from a 7 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10, you feel the drop. But if you operate on that level for a week, a month, it becomes normal when you get used to operating on that sort of level. And that's where I was starting to move into. And so you challenged me. You said, well, what can you do on a daily basis to increase that and track it and bring attention and awareness to it? And so things like meditation, more self-care, doing my best to get better sleep and things like that. And so I started doing that, and I shone the spotlight on increasing my peace. And I just started to do the 1%ers and committed to that process. And then I think it was at the end of the first week, I'm like, dude, I'm about a 6.5, 7. And the goal was to get to 8 by the end of the month out of 10. And now, having done that, I'm operating at about an 8. Have the circumstances changed? Some have slightly, but it's what's in here that's changed. It's the commitment to improving the thought process and the headspace and having those habits in place to help me move from here to there.
And that's all within your control.
Yep.
This is something a lot of men really don't realize or want to believe, is that if the quality of your life is not where you want it to be, shit marriage, shit body, no peace, no fulfillment, that's all within your control. And when you truly believe that, one of two things happens. You freak the fuck out because you realize that most of the shit in your life is your fault. It's your responsibility. That's a heavy fucking burden. You can't blame your wife. You can't blame the government. You fucked things up. That is heavy. But the second thing that might happen and that can happen is liberation. You're like, wait a minute, I fucked up my life. I've brought myself to this place where I'm not happy. I can get myself out of it. And that's power. That's power. There are two things that men lack more than anything in this world right now. One, peace. The ability to just sit there, smile, sit in the moment without a phone, without a screen, without a distraction and go, I'm good. And two, fulfillment. Having that purpose and direction outside of work or business where you know you're on purpose and following through on your life's mission. If you don't have that as a man, you are fucked. Think about how many successful men have zero peace.
Yeah.
They can't switch off. They can't go to sleep. I've been there staring up at the ceiling at night going, what the fuck am I going to do? How am I going to figure this out? And you talk about commitment. Like commitment only matters when it's hard. Like commitment's easy when life's easy. You know my story pretty well. In the last 3 months, things have been really challenging. I've had team members try to poach clients and deny it vehemently, even though they've fucking done it. I've had team members quit. I've had people be poached. Team members get poached. Our income has dropped by $300,000 a month. I've been sitting there questioning whether I'm going to get through, whether I can make it. I've also just had my second daughter. But I'll tell you what, even though the weight on the bar is so heavy, I'm the least stressed I've been in so long. And it's not because life is any easier. Life is fucking hard. It's because of my choices on perspective. Yeah. Tony Robbins says the most important decision you can make is to live life in a beautiful state. And it's so true. I've got a friend in America. He just lost $1.3 million of his investors' money. He got hacked. I was speaking to him yesterday. And I said, how are you going to figure it out? How are you coping? Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah, I'll figure it out. It's all a choice. With my business not working right now, it's a choice. I can sit here, be stressed, depressed, blame, or I can go, fuck it, I'll figure it out. And that's just a fucking choice. It's a commitment. Yeah. And as a man, when you realize this, it's so powerful. It's what we teach at The Empowered Man. It's one of the most important tools. I want to talk about certainty and clarity. How does a man find certainty and clarity in his business, in his purpose, in his fulfillment, in his peace? How does that come together for a man, an empowered man?
I guess firstly, it's like you said before, asking the question, what's not working? Because we're very, if I ask a man, what do you want? A lot of men find that really hard. They can tell me what they don't want. And so often we'll start there. It's the same sort of question you said before. We'll start there and then we'll look at the opposite. Do you want this? Oh, yeah, that's what I want. Asking ourselves the right questions is a really good way to start gaining a bit of clarity. Certainty comes through taking ownership and responsibility. Now, for so many men, when we talk to them for the first time, a lot of it is they did this, they did that, the blame. And my response to that is always, okay, so let's say it was all on them, which it never really normally is, right? But let's say it was all on them. If they have 100% of the responsibility, then you've got no buy-in to create any change or certainty for yourself. Let's just say that they're 99% responsible. Could you take 1% responsibility here? Yeah, I guess so. It's a bit like emasculate. Oh, yeah, I guess so.
No, I want to take more, brother. That's how men are, though. Like, can you take? No, I'll take fucking 20.
Yeah. But if you can start to do that, you've got buy-in to create change.
Yeah.
You've got buy-in to create some clarity around, okay, well, that happened. Rather than blame, I'm going to look within. I'm going to look at my part to play here and what I want to see happen. Oh, clarity piece. How do we start to make that happen? What's the roadmap? There we go. That's where we come in and support with that. And we start creating clarity and certainty on the fly for these guys.
Yeah. One of the most powerful questions a man can ask himself is, how have I created or allowed this problem?
Yes.
Like maybe my wife was a bitch and she was nasty, therefore I reacted. I can't control her being nasty, but I've allowed myself to react. I've created this argument through my trigger. In my business, my team members unreliable, not working hard. Okay, I can blame them, or I can ask, how have I created or allowed this? And if you can look at every problem in your life from that frame, there is no problem in my life I've not created or allowed, you win because you take full ownership. And if a man always tries to fix things, it's a lot easier to fix things or work on things if you're responsible. But again, it takes a lot of fucking balls to do that. It's easy to blame someone else. Your fucking fault. You're not giving me sex, wife. Your problem. You're not working hard, employee. Your problem. Weak men make that decision. Strong men, they take that weight on their own shoulders. I want to talk about fatherhood, right? Fatherhood, because you are a father to a what, 6-year-old boy?
7-year-old.
7-year-old boy. So when you came to Empowered Man, you couldn't have kids. You came into the program, you had your son. Now you're in a split family. You know, you and your wife have separated. You're raising him as a single father. What are the lessons that fathers need to know? What are the most important things fathers need to know to really instill the right principles and tools into their sons and their daughters? What lessons have you learned there?
There's a lesson that has been game-changing for me, and that is to not be a father of presence with a T and become a father of presence with a C. It's easy to throw money at the kids. It's easy just to try and keep people happy. Like we're used to doing that. But our kids don't remember. Like I've noticed with my son, I buy him a toy and I'm like, he's going to love it. And he loves it for 10 minutes. And then we never see it again. But he always wants time with me. How many men and how often did I do this where I'm just sort of throwing some coin to just, yep. Being a great father, providing, but all he wanted was me. Over the last 3 years, he gets me. I remember there was a point in time where I was, do I work some weekends or what? And I'm like, no, I'm not available. That's my time with my boy, and no one gets in the way of that. Yeah. And I haven't always been great with boundaries, but that's a firm boundary. No one messes with my time with my boy. And I'm seeing this depth of connection and relationship with him that I probably would not have had on that level if I hadn't walked through what I've gone through. So just that simple presence with a T to presence with a C has been game-changing, CE. One of the things that I'm noticing as my son grows, particularly in the last couple of years, going from 5 to 7, is that he is watching my every move. He is watching how I respond when something frustrates me. He is watching how I talk to him and how I help him navigate his emotion. He's watching everything. And so many men feel the pressure of that, and no one taught us. And so we just do whatever. But I'm so committed to showing him the way. And that falls on my shoulders. There's no one else father-wise to show him the way. That's my responsibility. But what I've learned is that that's actually my privilege, to show him the way, to pave the way for him to grow up and be a man. There's been some people in my world that have watched me help him navigate his emotions, and they're like, that's such a long process. And I'm like, yeah, but telling him to get over it, toughen up, that's just going to mess him up.
Can you tell me what the process is? Because a lot of guys can relate to this, and I'm guilty of it too. Even last night, I was putting Talia, my 3.5-year-old, to bed, and she sleeps in our room now because we've got a 12-week-old. She's like poking me in bed, and I was listening to an audiobook. I'm like, stop it. And I just snapped at her. It was dark. And I'm like, I instantly felt guilty. And it was because I was stressed from the work day, I had a lot on my mind, instantly felt like a piece of shit. So I'm like, sorry, are you okay? But that guilt came into today as well. And I think a lot of men do this. We have our family walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Our children are constantly watching us. And what do they see? They see a stressed man. They see a grumpy man. They see an angry man. They see a busy man. And obviously we're not doing this on purpose. We're trying to support our family. We're trying to provide a life of freedom, presents with the T, gifts, jet skis, houses, cars, freedom. But we're never there. And when we are there, we're not very good people some of the time.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of men as well say, I'm a great father. Like, really? Are you, brother? Like, when you really get honest with yourself, are you? So how do you help your son navigate his emotions? And also, how do you navigate your emotions? Because I'm sure you've had moments like that.
Mm.
Yeah. How do you do those two things?
Absolutely. One of the things I do first and foremost is I'm really honest with my son. So if I react poorly to something, rather than, I see this so often, is you just move on, get over it, and then you just continue parenting. Whereas when I can actually say, hey, mate, that actually wasn't okay for me to react that way or to say that or whatever. This is why.
That's ownership, by the way.
It's ownership, but
Yep.
There's no excuse. If I just go, oh, that's why I did that, he then learns, okay, that's why I can do it too. It's like, that's why I did that and that wasn't okay and I own that, right? Now, some men watching this will go, oh, cool, I can just keep doing what I'm doing, own it, and then just keep doing it. No. Commitment to yourself means you work on that area, so you're doing that less and less and less so that you're growing and thriving on that running track, right? But helping him navigate his emotion, I don't know about what your upbringing was like in terms of this, but being sort of stood over by a parent, no sort of harm or danger, but being stood over as a child and told to stop crying or to stop doing this or just to move on and get over it, it's actually quite challenging to deal with as a child. So I always get down on his level and I ask him what he's feeling. Now, I've been doing this with him since he was 2.5.
How old is he now? 6?
He's 7.
So, yeah.
What are you feeling? Sad. Okay. Where are you feeling it? Here or wherever he's feeling it. Okay, cool. Why don't we put it on our hand? Let's hold our hand out in front of us. And if you could put that sad on your hand, and let's say you can give it a shape, what would it be? Would it be round? Would it be a square? Would it be a triangle? It'd be a square. Cool. And what color would it be? Black. Okay. And is it heavy? Is it light? Is it big? Is it small? It's heavy and it's big. Okay, cool. What if we decided to take that black square and to put, which was sad, and to put a yellow circle on there? How would that feel? Good. Okay. Is that big or is it small? Is it heavy? Is it light? No, it's small and it's light. Okay, cool. And what would that be? Instead of being sad, what would that circle be? Happy. Okay, awesome, amazing. And at that point, he's got the big smile on his face. He feels like, okay, we've unpacked an emotion. It's okay that I felt angry, but do I want to keep hanging on to it? Or would I rather turn it around and do something else, feel something else? What are we going to do with that black square? And he throws it away. And he loves that process because it's actually going, look, it's okay that you feel that, but do you want to keep hanging on to it? Whereas with so many kids, stop feeling that way. Stop crying. Don't feel angry. Don't feel sad. Put on a smile. You'll be fine. And we take that black, sad square and we suppress it. We just push it down, push it down, push it down. Can't feel that. It's wrong to feel anger. It's wrong to feel sadness. It's wrong to feel this. It's wrong to feel that. And we build this life with all these different shapes inside of us that we're not allowed to feel, not allowed to access. And they're the things that are in that gate, behind that gate in our mind, in the wrecking yard.
Think about that for a second, because so many men will hear that and go, what the fuck are you talking about? Shapes, colors, emotions. But just bear with me if you're listening. Sam has a 2.5-year-old son who feels anger, fear, sadness, guilt, shame, guess what 36-year-old or 46-year-old John, James, Jilly, whoever you are listening right now feels? You can bullshit me all you want. As a man, as a woman, you feel anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame all the fucking time. Now, 2.5-year-old Luca, or your son, is taught to take that anger or sadness, acknowledge it, not brush it away, because it's not about being a robot and not feeling emotions. We all have emotions. We bring awareness to emotion. Oh my God, I'm feeling sad. Oh my God, I'm feeling angry. Instead of, fuck you, you're a dickhead, do your job. We project that anger. We don't bring awareness to it. So you feel that anger, you bring awareness to it, you acknowledge it, and you go, I'm going to turn that into happiness. Just pause for a second and think about that. You're telling me that I can take a negative emotion, which drives all my fucking actions. Why do we drink? Because we feel stressed. We don't think stressed, we feel stressed.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can take a negative emotion that's fucking up my world and transmute it into something else? Yes. So your son's been doing that for what, 2.5 to 7? What's that, 4.5 years? Guess what happens to him when he's older? He has a great marriage. He has a great business. He's in control of stress. And this is so powerful for anyone listening, whether you have children or not. You've all been a child. Think about how powerful this principle is. So 1, bring awareness to when you lose your shit or project your emotions to the people you love. Whether it's your children, whether it's your team, whether it's your partner, when you get angry, when you feel guilty, when you yell, when you're being rude, take ownership of it. And what that sounds like is, hey, look, I'm really sorry. I yelled at you earlier. I feel guilty for that. I shouldn't have done it. I'm going to work on it. And guess what? You'll do it again. And you take ownership again and you do it less and less. I've done this with you. You're one of my team members, employees. I used to be a dickhead, right? You're like, no, not that. No, I used to be like, I was a shit boss. Now I'll bring a problem to you and I'll say, Sam, I'm a little bit upset with you. Whereas in the past, I'm like, Sam, what the fuck? So it's taking ownership. And secondly, try to empower other people to understand their emotions.
Yeah.
Such a powerful principle for fatherhood. You shared something earlier that really resonated with me, and that's you're always being watched. As a man, you're always being watched by your children, by your partner, by your team, and they're looking to see how you respond to the world. So when something stressful happens in your business, or when your house is a mess, your kids, your team, they're looking to see if you're going to blow up and be angry, and they're constantly creating a story of who you are. They don't realize they're doing it. Yeah. Your kids might know you as grumpy dad, busy dad. Your team might know you as asshole dad, asshole boss. Your wife might know you as doesn't react to stress well, boss or husband.
Yeah.
That's a really important principle because you can change the perception people have of you, but it begins by upgrading yourself and how you react and respond to the world.
Yeah.
That leads us into this idea of the man in the arena. You have a powerful principle around this. What does it mean to be a man that's seen differently? What does it mean to be a man in the arena of life? What does that mean?
Theodore Roosevelt in 1910 shared the quote, "The man in the arena," and there's so many writings around it. There's great TED Talks around this quote, and essentially it is getting past the critics who are always going to be there telling you that you should have done this or you should have done that, getting into the arena and getting about doing the inner work, which is uncomfortable and is often seen by others. You know, when we're in states of vulnerability, it's seen. But being committed, like we shared before, making that commitment to become a man who is not satisfied and content with having all of those different parts of us that are hidden away or locked behind that gate, but who's actually committed to opening it up, getting about inner work, and becoming a man who is in the arena in states of vulnerability. But that's an amazing place to be able to lead from as well. So it's like, really simply in a nutshell, it's just about getting in to the thick of it. You know, the quote says something along the lines of, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, the physical manifestations of doing the inner work. It's uncomfortable, it feels hard, it feels tiresome sometimes, would feel easier not to, but it's like getting in there, getting your hands dirty, doing the work, unpacking that trauma, healing from that broken relationship, putting new systems in place to navigate your stress and whatever those other things coming up are, to become more healed and more whole so that you can lead from that place. And by doing that, it sort of piggybacks onto being watched. It shows other people that it's okay and necessary to do that inner work for themselves as well.
Yeah, the best leaders of men are able to be vulnerable and not fear being weak, especially when life's hard, but to show that even though it's hard and even though they feel weak, they're able to push through and get through. Like being able to tell your wife, "How was your day, honey?" she says, and you respond with, "Honestly, it was really hard. Like I felt stressed. I felt afraid, but this is what I'm going to do about it." Do you know what that does for a woman? It creates so much emotional safety for a man to know that about himself. Yeah. In business, when I'm super stressed and I'll tell the team, "Honestly, guys, things are really tough right now. It's been really difficult. I'm thinking about solutions, but I know we're going to figure it out." That combination of vulnerability, but then also certainty and clarity that we're going to get through this is so powerful. Mm-hmm. And every man has the skill. In business, what do? We're in the arena. We're fighting this war every day. Going to war, sales, marketing, stress. We get shit done. If you can take a fraction of that into your personal life, getting shit done, getting in the arena with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your relationship, with your children, and over time, that arena, you become the gladiator.
Yes.
You got the fucking crown on, you got that, you're destroying life, but in a good way, right? Destroying the problems and creating something else. But again, it requires a deep level of commitment. And I think for anyone listening at home right now, just asking yourself the question, am I happy with my existence? Like seriously, if I sat down for a split second right now, a minute, give yourself a minute, close your eyes for a minute and just go, am I happy with my body? When I look in the mirror, do I like the man staring back at me? Or do I get to jump in the arena and do something about this? Fight a different war. Am I happy with the way I think? Or do I get to step in the arena of my own mind and shift the way I operate? Am I happy with my marriage, with my relationship with my children, how I'm seen as a father, as a husband or partner? Or do I get to step in that arena and in my wealth, my business, my career, am I happy? Do I get to step in the arena? And you might be listening to this at home going, well, that's a lot of shit to fix. Yeah. Yeah. Because the best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. That's why it's so important to get in that arena every day, whether you feel like it or not. Make that commitment to yourself, but more importantly, make that commitment to the people that you fucking love.
Yeah.
They deserve the best of you. You don't deserve shit. You're a man. Life's fucking hard. Get over it. Life is fucking hard for a man. You don't deserve success. You don't deserve a great body. You don't deserve a great marriage. But guess what? Your family does. And use that as the fuel to get your shit together and become better. And it's fucking hard. But I have so much respect for men who do that. So what is one final thing you'd like to say to the listener right now about getting in the arena, making a commitment, living life in a beautiful state, being a better father, being a better husband? What does that man get to do from today to become that different version?
First and foremost, you shared a quote before and you shared this with me a number of years ago, and it really triggered me because I understood the truth of it and the weight of it, that there is no problem in my life that I have not allowed or created. And if we can adopt this "it's on me" mentality, from our personal pain to our business pain, our relationship pain, whatever it is, yes, maybe they did things that were untoward or whatever, but what you do with it is on you. If we can start to adopt a mindset like that, it doesn't matter how our team are operating. It doesn't matter what is going on in our personal or professional world. We understand that it's on me. If I want change, if I want success, if I want healing or solutions, it's on me to create it. No one's coming to save me. No one's coming to do the work for me. No one's coming to make it easier. If I want change, it's on me.
No one's coming to save you as a man. And that is a bitter pill to swallow. My darkest times where I felt like ending my life, where I drank every day to numb myself from the stress and the pain of my own mind, it was in those moments that I got to make a decision. And that decision was, no one's coming to save me. what am I going to do about it? And it was fucking hard. Like I was clawing myself out of hell so many days of my life. But every day that you make that decision to save yourself, to work on yourself, you build a new identity.
Yes.
And that identity is the empowered man, the man who has power, who has purpose, who has clarity and certainty. And that feeling is so fucking powerful because when you become that guy, your wife sees it and she comes on the journey. Your children see it. They come on the journey. People around you see it. They're inspired by you. And that's when you make a true impact as a man.
Yeah.
That is your calling. And if you're not that guy, get your shit together and become him. Or don't. Do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're complaining about how shit your life is without being that guy, you got a big problem, buddy. And that problem starts within. So very powerful. Brother, we're going to drop your links down below for people to find you. Thank you so much for jumping on. We got 2 more episodes to record today. So if you are listening to this right now as a listener, make sure you follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're watching on. Anything else you want to share to let the listeners go and implement these tools?
I think that's it. That's good.
Amazing. Thank you, Sam, brother.
Thank you.
If you actually want help implementing what we're talking about today, you want to be successful in your body, your mind, your balance, and your wealth at the same time. Whether that means making more money, working less, growing your business, and growing your success without all the stress, or being a better husband, father, or man, then it's a lot easier with help. Now, we've launched the Empowered Man app, and it is so powerful for implementing this in a gamified system for you to succeed. If you want to go on the waitlist or learn more, just simply send me a DM on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. That's TonyEmpoweredman. I'll drop it down below in case I fucked up the spelling, but please reach out. It's a lot easier with support. Send me a message on Instagram. Let me know how you're finding the podcast and let me know if you want access to this amazing tool to be successful in every area.